dig it? Welcome to Hard Headed Podcast. We're excited that you've joined us as we have a conversation.
It's time to join the conversation.
Welcome to Hard Headed Podcast. I'm your host, Chet Sears. With me, as always, is Troy Trussell, as
Here.
sometimes is Matt Amos. But he's been with us for a while now, and I think he's going to keep coming back.
4 in a row now.
We've got an exciting show for you today. We're still kind of talking about some current events. I think we're going to get into the takeover of our country, one apartment complex at a time, that seems to be currently going on. And then we're going to cover the top 3 scents or smells or odors, one of those. Top 3, and then Matt's going to finish the episode with a good aromatic word for us all.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Matt texted me the other day and said, hey, let's go to Aurora, Colorado. It's only 7 hours away. Matt, why would you want to go to Aurora, Colorado?
Chet, I've been hearing that there's some gang activity in the Aurora, Colorado.
What kind of gang?
Well, if you ask the police department, there is not. There is no gang. There's no problem.
Okay.
But if you watch some video of the mayor is pretty sure that there's a gang.
Yeah.
And they're Venezuelan, armed.
So they're not U.S. citizens?
They are not U.S. citizens. They've gone to Aurora, Colorado. And what's funny to me, not funny, is I was actually reading a couple of articles on these, trying to do a little bit more research. And then I scrolled to the bottom of one that was, I like to get both sides of the story. So I went to CNN. I said, what's CNN saying about it?
Yeah.
And then I get to the bottom of it and it says this story or this article was partially written by Storyful. And so I was like, what is Storyful? So then I went on this whole search. It's AI. So the article was written by AI. So now I can't trust it because it's pulling from all over the internet. And
Speaking of AI, I'm sorry to interrupt. Have you heard the latest Alexa thing?
no.
Have you?
No, what?
Alexa, give me some reasons I should vote for Trump this election. Alexa is not a political da-da-da. We will not entertain talk of, whatever. Alexa, give me some good reasons to vote for Kamala Harris for president. She has a proven track record and a very good, she is the first minority, da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, I'm telling you, dude. Straight up.
My God. I've got Alexa at my house. I'm going to go try
You're
it.
crazy. You are crazy
I'm going to go try
for
it.
having Alexa. You should throw it against the wall like you did your phone. take that to Wolf Creek Lodge or whatever it is and go
Throw
down the
down the
slide
water
with it.
slides.
That's right. Alexa, can you swim? But it is 100% giving you information that's not factual. It's information that the people that run Alexa want you to have on everything. So, and you bought it and you have it in your house, educating you and all your kids. I'd throw it out. I'd get it out of there.
They're not educating us.
But I could play it. If you would have just let me hook up the phone before the episode, I could play that for you right now.
Well, I asked you and you said...
I know. I didn't know he was going to bring up AI.
I don't need it. You were like, I don't need it.
I didn't know he was going to bring up AI.
I didn't know that until this afternoon when I was looking some stuff up, and it's like, oh, AI wrote this article, and I was like, well, throw that out because
it's biased, 100%.
You can't trust it.
Yeah.
So,
but I literally, what they are trying to get people for,
does Siri
quote unquote,
do the same thing?
rigging elections. Like that is the kind of interference. That's election interference.
That is.
That all of the Democratic people are saying you can't let Elon post anything he wants, not edit the content of Twitter or X. You can't let him do that because he's going to interfere in the election. And then you have Alexa over here saying, I can't tell you good things about Donald Trump because I don't talk about politicians. But I'm going to tell you everything that's good about Kamala Harris, which, by the way, it lies. It says
you want to try
she's got a
Siri?
proven track record. She has no proven track record. What's her track record? The borders are. It's a disaster.
Speaking of borders,
bring up AI and see what happens. Okay, the people coming across the border,
from Venezuela.
these gang members.
So the gang that the police departments will not either confirm or deny is Tren de Aragua. I believe that's how it's pronounced. And it was was the largest, because I don't know if Venezuela is having some problems. Is the largest criminal organization in Venezuela with over 5,000 members. The gang was founded in like 2009, 10-ish, and they've expanded throughout Latin America and the United States amidst the Venezuelan refugee crisis due to all the problems that nation is having.
Yeah.
And so with the growth of the gang following the migration of Venezuelans to host nations, and due to the severity of their crimes, combating the gang has become a priority to many nations where they have entered. So right now, there was what sparked me on it was there was a video that was posted, supposed alleged gang members in Aurora, Colorado, carrying guns,
going door to door.
And then, the mayor puts out a thing about it, and he's talking to DC about what steps he needs to take, talking to his police department, trying to figure out what they need to do. And then I just saw, I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, that there are now 32, 36, something like that, armed gang members in Chicago that took over an apartment complex there. So, one, what are they doing about it?
Nothing as of yet.
Nothing as of yet.
The police chief is denying it in Colorado.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's not a problem.
Yeah. He's saying it's not a problem. He's saying it didn't happen.
Yeah.
He's saying like they're not Venezuelan gangs here.
And even though that there's 911 calls. Now, granted, again, do we know for sure if they're Venezuelan?
No.
I don't know. So, the mayor of Aurora, Mike Kaufman, said that 2 apartment buildings have been overtaken by migrants. It's an organized criminal effort. Whether it's a trend, a drug war, that remains to be seen. But so the mayor is flat out saying they're migrants. They're here illegally. They've taken over apartment complexes. And there are others that are saying that crime has gone up in those areas. The TDA is a abbreviation of whatever you tried to pronounce.
Tren de Aragua.
Yep. And Aurora's police department, as of a week ago, said that they set up a special task force to address concerns about the Venezuelan gang members and other criminal activity linked to migrants. So it's not just necessarily Venezuelan gang members, but just migrants in general causing crime.
But the way that that's worded, to address concerns, not to address the issue, but to address concerns about the issue.
Concerns about the gang members and other criminal activity linked to migrants in the area.
I got you.
Yeah. And, okay, here we go. We are aware that components of TDA are operating in Aurora. The APD has been increasingly collecting evidence to show the gang is connected to crimes in this area, the police department said. So a spokesman from the police department is confirming it now.
Now, when was that? Because the police chief
this was updated the day that we're recording, which is about a week prior.
I got you.
Yep. This is just updated. So it's the truth is going to come out eventually, but there was also rumors, which turned out not to be true, that like the Hells Angels group was going to go there and fight them in some kind of a turf war, which they're not a police force that goes around getting involved in other people's business. And then I think what's really going to come, I think our future is this is going to happen more often.
For sure.
We're seeing it in Europe right now.
When they go in and you don't do anything immediately.
Right.
And you wait, you gather evidence, you do this. No.
But the reality is, and we all know, there have been women that have been murdered, raped, all this stuff from just criminals coming in. There is going to be organization of this crime. Like it's not just going to be random stuff forever. It's going to be a lot more MS-13, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be more organized. And if we are not going to address it from a civil protection perspective, then the citizens are going to end up doing something. And it's going to get really ugly really quick in certain parts of the country.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then the next thing
Well,
is...
you're going to go back to basically gang wars is basically what you're going to get, because you're going to have these migrant gangs that are going to conflict with the areas of, fake story, the Hells Angels, which they're not, unless they already have a chapter there, they're not riding from somewhere else.
Well, and if they have a chapter there and they were operating in the apartment complex, or one of the chapter members was in the apartment complex and they roughed him up, they're not going to get involved.
Yeah. But
because I'm an expert on I actually listened to an interview with a former, he wasn't a Hells Angel, he's a biker guy, and he's like, you don't understand our culture. We're not the police force. We don't go around avenging things. We just take care of our own.
Yeah. Like if it's messing with profits or one of their guys, we're going to go and we're going to take care of it.
Yeah.
And we're going to get our territory back, because that's what we do. But it's the same thing with any kind of illegal dealings. I mean, they're going to go in, they're going to try to take it back. You're going to end up with gang wars and innocent people getting killed. And I mean, you're going to, the New York, Chicago. I mean, areas where, LA.
Yeah.
Where gangs are typically kind of a big deal. You're going to lose that fight because you're not going in. You're not doing anything about it immediately. Like, stop screwing around. Just go get it. And that's what really upsets me, because it's kind of the same thing that we saw with Trump's attempted assassination. It's the attitude and the same thing that we saw in Utopia, Texas, where cops wait instead of going in and doing something. It's more like, the whole line, their job is to protect and serve. I get it. But I think it's become more the motto of, hey, make sure you go home every night. And it's like,
yeah, it's protect themselves.
Protect yourself first.
Yeah.
Rather than the people that you're there to protect.
Yeah.
Which is the complete opposite of what you need to be doing. If you are a police officer, you are a servant of the people.
Yeah.
That, so let's stop. Let's go do something. Get in the mix. Let's actually go do something. But I get the flip side of that too, is you go in and do something turns out bad. Then, you're getting blamed for, innocent people getting hurt or killing the wrong people, whatever it is, or taking the wrong people to jail, and then you get the optics of it, throwing some migrant in jail that wasn't even involved with it. And then they're pressing charges and whatever. It's just kind of a screwed up time that we live in. But you see a dude walking around with a gun going door to door, take him out. It's not that hard. That's what I was telling from the video. There's some pretty good windows. You could put me about 800-900 yards away. Problem solved.
Well, and the problem is, kind of back to your point on protect and serve, but it's more about protect yourself. Have you seen the video of the cop shooting that kid's dog in front of him?
No, well, I mean, there's been a lot of those.
I heard about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how ridiculous. So they're out in their yard, front yard. The cop and probably a neighbor called. But anyway, the cops show up and say, "Hey, your dog needs to be on a leash." And then the cop leans over. The dog's like, "Oh, somebody's here!" Bark, bark. And the cop leans over and puts his hand out like this, like showing like, "I have a treat," is the way it looks. And the dog comes running up to the cop, and he feels threatened, so he pulls his gun out and shoots him, and does not kill him with the shot immediately. The dog runs back to the boy squealing,
Oh god,
flailing around on the ground like a spine-shanked deer with a bow.
Kind of looking up like,
Yeah, like, hey.
those
But
eyes.
anyway, And then it died. Then it died right there in front of the kid. So, and it's like, I know cops don't deserve to get dog bit, but at the same time, how are they trained in such a way that when a family-friendly dog approaches them, their first instinct is to shoot it in a very unsafe manner? There were people like 5 feet from him when he
Right.
shot it. So stuff like that's crazy. What's scary to me is stuff like this where our neighborhoods are breaking down, and I don't know the 100% facts behind this, but I know enough to know. I'll tell you a fact, straight fact. You know, you got the neighborhood Facebook pages, and everybody gets on there and complains about something, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And what does the HOA say to do? Like, oh, I can't believe this white Taurus was speeding through our neighborhood. They had to been going, 35 miles an hour. Well, you know what you do? You find the address that car went to, then you call 911 and you tell them that they were speeding, and you have the cops show up at them and tell them to slow down. They've been reported, blah, blah, blah. Well, there's a chance that you calling the cops to show up to somebody's house means that you are signing their death warrant, because the cops don't show up not ready to kill somebody. They're ready to kill somebody. And in this case, more than likely, they were called. Some neighbor was like, oh, they got that stupid dog out in the front yard again. I'm calling the cops. He's not on a leash. What happens? The cops show up and they shoot a dog in front of a kid. Like, I mean, so this whole, let's not have conversations with our neighbors. We'll just let the police be our public relations. You're the go-between, but you're bringing a trained, armed killing force every time you call them to come into a situation. So be careful when you decide to call the cops or not.
Well, and
That's my advice.
yeah, always. I mean,
So they should be called to go to Aurora.
but
You got gangs with guns.
Well, then they show
You
up.
should
and then-
not be calling them when you got a dog running around playing with his kid in his own front yard.
Well, and then, yeah, I mean, again, that's a whole nother subject that could be a whole nother podcast episode on bad shootings by police. Because I saw one, it is just a case recently where the lady was sitting on the couch, and then she went to the kitchen. She had some boiling water, and she was like, I'm going to, throw this water on you, and then,
Oh, gosh,
and
I
then
don't
she
even
picked up the
find
pan
that.
and,
That
Like-
dude just
and then he killed her. I mean, he murdered her. It's like, dude, you couldn't just back away. Like, you could have outrun that pot. Is basically what I'm saying. Like,
she called them there to deal with another neighbor, and she died.
right?
That, I'm telling you, dude,
That's messed up.
it's
Because they started. I mean, there's the whole video online. They started asking her some questions. Everything started off
cordial.
cordial.
She's like, oh, I need to go over to my stove. I still got the pot boiling. Like, I mean, it was, dude, it's,
and then she said, and then oh, I'm gonna, she said, so he said something.
he's like, oh, don't spill. Oh, I'm going to pour it on you. Ha ha. Bang. Like in the face.
Yeah, no, you're not. No, you're not. Bang. Yeah, I was like, dude,
Yeah.
what
Was
a
she like joking?
You don't know.
I hadn't seen the
We
video.
can't ask her, Troy, because she got shot in the face by a cop that she invited into her home.
Oh God. Well, that's rule number one.
Like an
Don't
old
invite
lady.
People in your home.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
but it's stuff like that. And
Get me wound up again.
I get it that there are.
What do you talk about, like dove hunting or something? It makes me happy.
No, because then the game warden comes out. You're on unplugged.
Did you walk out here all by yourself?
Got out here, didn't I?
Oh my gosh. Anyway, the only other thing I would say to our listeners is, it's September. We're into September. And we also know that certain terrorist organizations like to repeat specific dates of events. And there is a possibility that on October 7th, which is the anniversary of the Palestinians going into Israel and murdering people at music festivals and kidnapping people and raping women and holding hostages and murdering those hostages. October 7th is coming back around pretty quick.
Yep.
There's been some heightened awareness memos that have been going out to our United States police departments to say, be on the lookout. They're not tying anything to October 7th, but we have a fear that there will be, and there's some intelligence that there may be some local terrorist attacks. I would say be cautious around the October 7th date if you're out with your family, especially in large cities with populations of migrants.
Anywhere that they're hosting a free Palestine protest.
Yeah, I'm not going that far, but
Just saying.
yeah, keep an eye out.
September 11th still on their watch list this many years later.
I don't nothing. Well, 2012 was when Benghazi was. That was on the attack on the embassy in
That was September 11th.
Libya. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
2012.
12. Yeah, or 13.
I can't remember.
Yeah, one of
I
those.
think it was 12.
I know it was a pretty big deal, September 11th, 2002, because I was in D.C. at that time, and there literally, I am not kidding, a cop at every corner. And when I mean every corner, there were 4 cops at every intersection.
Oh, wow.
Like it was locked down everywhere in D.C.
Yeah.
on the 1-year anniversary. So, yeah, I don't know if we'll talk about that anymore, but if you're listening, that's something to pay attention to. All right.
Lots of craziness going on out there. Just head on a swivel.
Yep.
Head on a swivel.
And Aurora, Colorado is like a suburb. It's not
It's not Maine, Denver.
right.
That's where they filmed Wayne's World,
No,
in the basement.
no. It was Aurora, Illinois.
Oh, sorry, wrong.
Yeah.
Aurora.
Yeah. Close.
They may be in Aurora,
Close.
Illinois.
Close. Now.
Now.
Yeah, maybe. All right. Top 3 scents. Top 3 smells. Top 3 odors. Top 3 go, Troy.
Me first again? All right.
Matt.
Okay. Number 3.
Now Troy. No, I'm kidding.
Number
okay.
3.
Matt.
The rolls at Grandma's house on Thanksgiving.
Okay.
All right.
She only cooks them on Thanksgiving?
Well,
It's the only time he's ever there.
Grandma passed away.
Oh.
So, but that is one of the fondest memories I have is we would roll over to Grandma's house for Thanksgiving and you go in and she'd already started the rolls, they were rising and then put them in the oven. You got that wonderful smell of that fresh baked bread.
Yeah.
Oh, there's nothing better. That's
Yeah, Granny's cooking always smelled good at
so
Thanksgiving.
good.
Yeah.
Like I miss that smell. So that's my number 3.
I'm going to pause you real quick. Other than the time that you skipped Granny's Thanksgiving and she caught the dirt
This
dauber
again?
pot on fire, that did not smell too good.
Well,
But
I'm glad I missed it.
okay.
Yeah, where were you?
Cowboys game. That's why when she found out, she gave me a pass because that was her favorite team.
I got you.
Troy tried to skip Granny's Thanksgiving.
I feel like we talked about this in the basement of your parents' house.
Probably so, but
I
he
think
tried
we
to
did.
skip the Thanksgiving and act as if he was, don't tell her I'm not there. Maybe she won't notice I'm gone. And it took her about half the day.
Yeah.
Where's Troy?
Because that was your first Thanksgiving with the family, right?
No, I've been there.
Oh, had you?
Yeah.
You been around, so they're already sick of you?
That was probably second or third.
Yeah. All right. Okay. I'm sorry. Number 2.
Number 2, the mountains. The mountains have a smell.
They're not it's not consistent. It's not like the same smell every time you go, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you wake up and you got that mountain air, just that clean, crisp, little bit of pine.
Like in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sitting out on the porch drinking your coffee.
Need to make a morning mountain air candle for Matt.
There you go. There you go. And then number 1, everybody in the Midwest knows rain. You know when that rain's coming, that smell of that rain just before it starts to rain. And I don't know if that's just specifically a Midwest thing. I think,
No, it happens in the South too.
does it happen in the South?
I will talk about it because I disagree with you.
You disagree with me?
Yep.
That it's a Midwest thing or that it smells good?
That it's a different smell in Kansas than it is in Louisiana. And Kansas rain smell is not near as good as Louisiana rain smell.
I'll fight you.
You don't know. I know.
I will fight you.
I know.
I've been to
You don't know?
I've been to Louisiana in the rain.
I can speak to this.
Yeah.
There's a stronger smell in the South. Like, it's about to fall.
Yeah.
It's a little harder to predict in the Midwest.
No, it's not,
because the
'cause you can see
smell is not as strong. Yeah, but you can see it, but it still might not even hit you.
There's just so much dirt in Kansas. There's just like dust everywhere.
Yeah, I have a
With all this
sinus
farming
infection
going on?
right now because of it.
And that rain.
Listen, you can leave, okay? Go.
All right. Well, I'm going to take mine off the list then. But I'm just telling you right now,
Louisiana rain.
rain smells good. Rain in Kansas smells good. Rain in Louisiana smells better.
Then I'll put rain in Colorado is better than both
No.
in the mountains.
It's too dry.
100%.
There's not enough humidity.
Shut your face.
You know how humidity makes your smell work better?
I hate humidity with a passion.
I'm telling you, but it enhances smell. Like a wet. Like you don't
Is
smell.
that why I smell you right now?
You go into a damp place, it's like, I smell it. It smells damp in here. You go into a dry place, you don't smell anything.
Making sense.
Mountains are too dry.
Mountains ain't too dry.
Yeah.
No.
Rainforest mountains smell really good.
The rainforest does smell good. Like the herpetarium at the zoo is
Why do you think it smells so good in
the
there?
best. The best because of all the plants, man.
Because of all the humidity.
That's right.
I don't buy
It's
that.
science.
It's not
It's
science. You
science.
can't say it's science and then it not be science.
I'm saying it's science.
Weird science.
You can't argue against science.
I believe in science.
All right, I'll go with my top three. So
Nobody at this point, nobody cares.
I grew up way in the country where we didn't have garages. They just did not exist in any house. I grew up all my friend, no garages. There's a couple shops, but like a garage attached to your house. Didn't
Carport?
exist.
Do y'all have
Carports.
Carports.
It's all carports. And it's in Louisiana.
That's more of a thing of the South, I think, too. Anyway,
well, it's not
Our
the
first
elements.
house
It's like
was
it's just rain. You don't have
carport,
snow. You don't have all, it's just, anyway,
Didn't have tornadoes back then much when we were kids either. They do now.
you just didn't know.
Well, I guess
If
so.
it hit your house, you knew there was a tornado. Otherwise, you didn't know.
Well, I guess that's true.
But my grandma, so my mom's was born and raised in Ohio, and every now and then we'd get back to see my grandma.
and you were born where?
I was born in Oklahoma,
Okay,
and we had a
Grew up in Japan.
my
not even American at this point.
Visits China frequently.
we had so they had a house, 2-car garage, and so that's the only garage I ever had to hang out in. And it's not just a garage smell, but that specific garage. I don't know the gas, the oil, the whatever had spilled on the floor, and I've come across it a couple of times in my life that I was like, this is the exact smell that was in my grandma's garage. Go ahead and what are you gonna do?
I was going to play the Chinese national anthem, but I didn't want you to have to stand up.
Yeah. Oh gosh. You guys. Number 2 would be shoe polish. So my dad we talked about this even last episode, active duty military while I was growing up, and he was in the Air Force, and back when you had to wear your, what do you call them, your blues or whatever, so none of this fatigue business. He had to wear polished shoes, the blue slacks, the light blue shirt. And he was just in the habit of when he came home, he sat down at the roll top desk, pulled out the bottom drawer on the left, got his shoe shine kit out, took his shoes
Polished
off,
them up.
and polished his shoes and set them right there. And that's the last thing he put on before he walked out the next morning. So anytime I would open up that drawer, and he had that drawer with the shoe stuff in it all the way through his retirement until they moved up here to Kansas, with all the stuff still in there. So if you were ever at his house, or my house, you could open up that drawer and smell all that shoe polish stuff in there. And it reminded me of my dad coming home. So that's a favorite, a top 3 scent. And then number 1, spent gunpowder. Primarily, if you could get it out of a shotgun shell, a freshly fired shotgun shell, and just take
That does smell good.
I mean, I hope that I'm not the one here that's now going to be charged as un-American. I can't. I don't like that smell anymore.
Anymore?
Yeah.
You did at one time?
I at one point, I've just shot so many stupid rounds.
Yeah.
It doesn't bring me joy anymore.
That's okay, because you and your affiliation with gunpowder is different than my affiliation with gunpowder.
Just so
But
much.
that whole, and I'll be honest with you, smelling out of brass is different than smelling out of plastic. In that you get like a, just a fire off your first, shoot your first dove.
I
and you're
100%. I know that smell.
You're gonna take it in.
Perfectly off of a shotgun, sporting clays in the morning,
Yeah.
or dove in the morning.
Yeah.
Like that smell in the
Yeah.
morning. I get it.
Oh, cool fall morning.
I get it.
And a hot, you're holding a hot shell that you just shot.
Did y'all go dove hunting yet?
No,
I had.
I haven't seen a dove.
I've been. Well,
I've-
you had
I've
to
seen
we had a
them
little
fly
cold
around the
snap
city.
come through, but
I watched. I mowed my yard the Friday before opening, which was on a Sunday.
yeah.
I haven't seen any. Like 2 weeks before opening, I saw some, but that night, that morning, nothing.
Matt, I'll tell you
Crazy.
what. If you want to plant a crop next year that would hold the dove, I will consult.
I don't think I
I've
need
got
you
a
to
track
consult.
record of crops producing seed.
Crops producing seed or seed producing crop.
Both. I've put seed in the ground and plants have come up and they have produced multiple seeds. We'll see if it's productive with the wildlife at some point in the future, but I'm proud. And Hank Jones, who was a guest on our show, I sent him some pictures of this food plot, and his response was, "You are now farmer of land. No one can take such an honor from you." Yeah.
I call bull.
Whatever. What are you talking about?
Yep.
What's
I
your
call bull.
bull on what?
I mean, how did you get it to that point?
I hired for free somebody with lesser implements on a tractor to scrape some ground because he didn't have time to go get his planter.
Yep.
But after that, all the planting and fertilizing has been on me. And
How did you fertilize?
and the rain, I threw it out of a spreader that I borrowed from Cameron.
So where's my sprayer? That I
It's still in
got-
my garage.
that I haven't gotten
I'm gonna
back.
fix that tire for you, man. Do you need it?
Like-
By the way, it doesn't work that good.
Okay, Steve, you probably wrote your name on the bottom of it. And
It doesn't work. I need to get it back so you can fix it because it doesn't work as good as it should. It does, and then it doesn't.
so it sprays and then it doesn't?
Yeah, it sprays and then it drips, and then you stop it, and you start it again, and it sprays,
Huh.
and then at some point it drips. And I think it's if I'm on bumpy terrain that it loses the pull from the pump, and then it gets air bubbles in there or something, and then it just starts dripping or something.
Maybe.
But yeah, I just did some stuff at the lease, and it's like going down the road, like brown, everything dead, boom. It's like a rainforest,
Plant,
and then anyway,
Good smelling rainforest.
yeah, because of the humidity. All right, Troy, what you got?
Number 3 would be my own farts.
I don't even know.
Hey, I hear they prevent cancer. I've read articles.
Troy's farts prevents cancer.
No, smelling your own.
Your own?
Yeah. I don't know if that's true. or not.
You love that? That's the top
Start
3.
smelling.
You get excited?
Sometimes, man.
Like you're like, ooh.
Sometimes I'm like,
That's a
oh man, that's
spicy
a good
meatball.
one.
Like my dog surprises himself every now and then, like rips one. He's like, what is that? And then he turns around and smells it. That's what you do.
Yeah, my dog does that too.
Okay.
Troy Dutch ovens himself.
Yeah.
It's fun when I got all the boys in the car. That's really fun. Number 2, tobacco.
Like which kind of tobacco?
Fresh dried tobacco.
Like a tobacco barn.
Not burned.
Like chewing tobacco or cigarette tobacco?
No, like dry
The leaves.
Tobacco
tobacco
leaves.
that you're gonna
Yeah.
like roll up and smoke in a cigarette
Okay.
or something.
Yeah.
You just that smells so good. It's kind of like the smell you walk into like a humidor when you walk into one of those, that fresh. I don't know. There's just something about that smell. I love it.
It's the humidity.
It is. It just really elevates the smell.
Science.
Yeah, walk-in humidors are awesome. I don't smoke.
Yeah, you need to get a candle that.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good.
Yes, work on that.
I will. Number one.
What? Pause real quick.
Pause.
Of all the stuff we've talked about so far, tobacco goes from smelling so good before it's lit to makes you want to gag when you walk in on people smoking. Now, today's day and age.
Unless I love pipe tobacco smoke.
Yeah. I'm talking like cigarette tobacco.
Like cigarettes and all. Yeah. Well, because they had so many chemicals. If it was just fresh tobacco, it wouldn't.
So Europe, smoking's still very popular in like walking in a place.
It's crazy.
It's like, I can't. How can I eat here? You know?
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. I'm sorry.
But that's funny because Europe has all these bans on like food and how like bad food for you.
Yeah.
But they'll still smoke in restaurants. And over here, you can't smoke in restaurants.
But the food kills you.
But you can buy all the crappy food you want.
Yeah.
And it'll give you cancer unless you smell your
now,
own farts.
One of the things that they do on the packaging,
So I hear.
Of the cigarettes, like the cartons and the packs of cigarettes, there are pictures of
black lungs and
face cancer, lip cancer, so people without a jaw. I mean, it's grotesque. But so they're like warning you, like with even if you can't read, they're like, oh gosh, this stuff can't be good for you.
Right. Yeah. Number one is when you take the pot out of the boil and you just dump the crawfish on the table.
Ooh.
That smell is probably my favorite smell in the world.
Like out of a Traeger?
No. Out of a huge pot with a bunch of holes in it. Dump it on the table and go to town.
That's a good smell.
It is a good smell. I do like that smell.
Yeah. So it's basically boiled Louisiana crab oil. Like,
yeah,
the seasonings.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's good. I'll tell you what, I stand corrected. That's another thing that goes from smelling really, really, really good to really, really, really bad. The remnants of a crawfish boil in a trash can.
Yeah. It can
for like 2 days in a 90-degree May day. It will ruin you. It's nasty.
It can get pretty bad.
And I so correct. That's your number one.
Yeah.
So I have to correct the record. I was wrong about something.
Oh yeah.
The griddles, the Blackstones, I slammed them. I now am a proponent of the Blackstone or the like being the best implement for tailgating in existence.
Oh, you got to try it out at a K-State game.
Yeah, at a tailgate, and it was fantastic. So a couple of the issues, you can't do everything with it. You can't boil with it.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
But
it has been proven.
But the man, we did bratwurst, peppers and onions with those, or just peppers with those.
Oh yeah,
smash burgers. Man, you name it, it did it, and it's wind protected. Still gas,
but it's got the little.
It's
walls.
all enclosed.
Yeah.
It's just all enclosed down in there, and it was fantastic. And then you don't have to worry about like coals if you're going to cook on a Weber or something like that. Like you're going to go into the stadium to the game, like you just turn this thing off and put the lid down, put it in the back of your truck. You're good because it was a tabletop one, right? So, yeah, I was blown away, and so I needed to tell the podcast listeners that I was wrong to say they're worthless. Now, granted, I'm not going to go buy one for my house, but that was a pretty nice thing to have at a tailgate.
Okay,
there you go. So I was wrong.
It's basically the same thing that we cooked on a few Labor Days ago.
7 years ago today.
7 years ago.
7 years ago today, we had our probably one of the best meals I've ever eaten in my life. I think that's how that goes.
Little moose and some.
How do you get to your memories on Facebook?
Memories.
I have no idea.
Menu,
Like
memories.
the corner of my mind.
So, podcast listeners, way back when I started a tradition of cooking or having a Labor Day family camp out. Like it was just the thing that I wanted to get out
Yep.
specific times a year. And so like there was a Memorial Day or whatever and Labor Day. And so Labor Day turned into one where I just started inviting people. And then Matt came several years in a row with your family. But I think it was the first year, maybe the second year, probably the second year
I think it was the second
at our
year.
place out in Council Grove. And he brought this, what do you call that thing?
It's like a camp chef.
You put a
Griddle.
steak, you drive a steak in your fire pit, and then this this multiple level griddle and a grill grate,
Yep.
and you could swing it around over the fire
remember
and
seeing
pull it
that.
off after the fire. But
Seeing the pictures of it.
dude, we had fajitas one night, but then another night, Matt was very generous to cook. He brought some moose steaks,
Moosin'.
and I will tell you,
Those moose steaks are baller.
they're awesome. And the package was so big, you know, he had the way they packed them at the wherever.
Yeah.
We had a lot of meat that he thawed out. And so day 2, we, for breakfast in the morning, I cooked the steak cut bacon. It's like 7 slices per pound. It's huge, thick. And so cooked that first on the griddle, took that off the griddle, and then we grilled those steaks on that griddle over the campfire
With
in the
fat.
bacon grease.
Nice.
Oh my gosh. That was good. Dude. And that's what that is right there.
That's good.
That was, yeah, it showed up in my feed today. That was 2017.
Dang. It's been a long
Nice.
time.
Yeah.
That was good food.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. That's
was good
good
eating.
times. Good times.
You know what I remember about that time, other than the really good food, is I had like an ingrown hair on the back of my leg,
Yeah.
and I had to retire early because that's the first year that I brought the camper out to your place.
Yes.
And I basically laid in the camper with my leg off because I had
You
this.
couldn't wear the socket.
Yeah, I couldn't wear the socket because I had a big old freaking.
That's why it was so good. Matt brought food and then he went.
Then I left. I think I stayed there and helped cook, and then
All right. You got a good word for us, Matt?
yeah, I do. 2 Corinthians 12:9. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. And I just think it's kind of an appropriate verse at this point in time because I think we as a nation are weak. We as a people are weak.
Yeah.
And I think God's grace is really going to shine through this next election cycle. I think we're going to see.
Well, I think what we know is because of the options that are in front of us right now, it's not like we're looking to an election to make us whole.
Yeah.
And leaning on God to where that's where our value is. That's where we belong. And either candidate gets up there is not the Messiah, right?
Yep. They're not.
Right.
It's God's grace that's sufficient for us, not some political candidate.
Yes. And I think that even though, but I think as down and as divided as we are, I think God's glory is going to be shown through this next election cycle, just because I see some things coming together and people are getting tired of the division. And so I think that there's going to be a, I don't know if I would call it necessarily a revival, but I think there's going to be a coming together of people.
That would be good. Normally that happens after a disaster. So are you predicting that?
No, well, this last election or this last presidency has been a disaster. So I think
That's the disaster.
we've been there, man. We've been there. We got a country being taken over by Venezuelan gangs. We have a party that just wants to kill innocent babies.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad things going around.
lot of bad things.
But I think, I know that God's glory will be shown. So
That's awesome. All right. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next week. Please share this episode or any other episode you really liked. That helps us a great deal. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Hard Headed Podcast. Don't forget to share this podcast with others to help us get the word out.
Also, if you haven't yet, please rate and review the show. This helps our podcast show up in other people's suggested shows that may or may not have listened to us before.
thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.